Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Coast Connections. We're asking tonight, is your personal information at risk? In this online world that we're in, what are the exposures, what's the risks, and how can you protect yourself from being hacked or being scammed? So we're here with an expert tonight, George Opacic. He's an identity theft advisor. And George, you're also an author. You've been a lecturer at UBC and Langara and Capilano. You've traveled the world, gaining all kinds of information about identity theft. And I was surprised to learn that you had a computer way back in 1978. So you've had a little more experience with this online theft business probably than a lot of us have. So welcome.
Thank you very much, Liz.
Now, I was looking on your website and there was a quote from Benjamin Franklin there. It said, caution and distrust are the parents of security.
Yeah.
So in that vein of caution and distrust, George, we've met on the phone, we've met online, but we've never met in person before this interview. So do you have any ID?
Well, I'm glad you asked. See, this is something that most people are embarrassed to say, but if I show you this, here it is, but I'm not gonna give you the thing.
And what would I look for? How would I know that you really are you? And how easy is it to fake you?
The picture, you're not going to be doing fingerprints, but biometrics, as they call it, things that you can take a look at is what a police officer will look at. There's so many ways of getting scammed nowadays. You really need to have that caution put in any of your interactions with people you don't know.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So the online world, there's no turning the clock back here. This is here to stay. And there's so many different points of entry where our personal information is out there. Online banking, purchasing things online, gaming, exactly, yeah. Your tablet, your computer, the list goes on and on and on. So what's one of the number one things we can do in terms of passwords? Let's start there.
Well, passwords are a favorite. There's a lot of folks who use only one password, and that's the only thing they can remember, and that's what they use for everything. And it's so easy normally to break into that. There are suggestions that I have that are taken from experts that say don't use any password that has a word in it. Don't have things such as the word with a zero in place of an O, thinking that makes it different. Yeah. It needs to be a larger collection of alphanumerics. Yeah. It has to have something that isn't predictable is the key. Mm-hmm. And so the question then is, how do I remember it? And you don't.
Exactly. You don't.
You don't remember it. The point with passwords is that they need to be your key in order to get into whatever software you're wanting to get into, mm-hmm. or whatever link you're trying to open up. It's as if you had a house that had nothing more than a strip of metal to put into the door, and to have that strip of metal open things up. Anybody can put the strip of metal in.
Right.
That key has to have different things going on with the teeth. Mm-hmm. So your password has to be unique. The problem there is, how do you remember it? How do you use it? So the recommendation with passwords is that you have to have something that's convenient to use, but very hard to break. And for instance, if you have, there's software that you can buy, there's software that you can put together. You can use simple things such as Note. That is just an free editing software package. You can use Excel spreadsheets. You can use any software that you want where you keep your spreadsheet or your note or something current and available that has all your passwords on it. Make sure that isn't stolen. Yes.
So how do we make sure that isn't stolen?
There are packages, again, that are something that a lot of folks use. Is called Evernote, mm-hmm. which is available on your smartphone, and exactly the same files that you have on that is available on your desktop or your notepad or whatever it is. They're all available, exactly the same ones. Mm-hmm. And if you use that to access your password, then it's available anywhere. Don't lose your cell phone.
Right.
But that brings up the point of your cell phone should be encrypted.
When you buy them, are they not encrypted? Is that something someone should ask?
Yes,
Their
you should
cell
ask.
phone provider?
Yeah, some of them are and some aren't, and you should, if it's not encrypted, there is always a button saying encrypt, and you should have that done. It'll go through and it'll mash everything that's in there so that it cannot be looked at by somebody who doesn't have the access code.
And encryption should also happen on your tablets and on your PC and home computer, all of that? Or is that done by the provider as well?
No, you should be doing that. It brings up another point, like just how anal can you get? If you,
Only my proctologist knows for sure.
if you have everything encrypted and something happens where you lose that original key to get into what it is that is holding your passwords, then there's a problem. You don't always have to have your desktop computer encrypted. You don't always have to have something that's in your house encrypted, unless you're a little bit concerned that somebody's taking advantage of your own computer. Someplace you might not have to do that. The only reason I say that is that it may be convenient not to have at least one point of entry into your whole universe of your digital information. If you want to be anal about it, go ahead. Most people that know anything about the security thing are extremely so.
Yes. And especially if you have been hacked or scammed. I mean,
Who hasn't been?
Yeah.
Just walking in here, I met 5 people. I think 4 at least said, I've been hacked.
Wow.
There's so many people out there doing it. And the original one alleged to be 1981 a Mac hack. Where a kid, literally a grade 9 student, hacked into the computers that were being used in the school. And it wasn't his intention to be malicious, he wanted to show that he could do something. And that little program that he wrote propagated throughout the whole environment.
Wow.
And in '86, the first known one for the PC side, exactly the same thing. In fact, that was a business software package that the people put together and wanted to find out who was scamming it, who was taking copies of it. And they put a little note in there, if you can't read this, send us a mail or something, and it just went on from there.
Wide open, yeah. Now, with online banking and your online, when you're paying for things online or direct deposits, those types of things, how can you protect yourself from getting hacked and having your bank account cleared out, or getting hacked and having someone use your credit card? What are some of the steps a person can take?
Critical thinking to start with. What you need to say is, have I initiated this request of a company? If the company seems to have initiated it, then you really have to take a look at the red flags that are being popped up there. Why are they asking me to do something? CRA, for instance, apparently has been sending all kinds of notices to people. Obviously they haven't, but it looks like it's the CRA. Phone and emails and everything else, people are saying, if one phone call I got was, if you don't answer this in 3 seconds, we're going to have the police at your door. Well, they don't do that.
Officer Ryan, Canada Revenue Agency, he called me today. Yeah.
So critical thinking to start with. Did I initiate this contact? If I did I get to the right spot?
Right.
One thing that can happen is that you can go to a spot that, let's use RBC Bank as an example. If it says to that website that you think you are looking at an RBC bank, if it says something like al.rbc.com, that al dot isn't normal. Why is it there? That would immediately raise the red flag saying there's something messy with that URL.
Right.
Find out why that's there, and if you're not sure, then don't click on anything, because what anybody can do, you can do a screen print of legitimate websites, take that screen print and make it so that it automatically, on any click anywhere on that screen print on a website, automatically takes it to that malicious location that is going to download a Trojan or something onto your computer. And it looks perfectly legitimate because it was originally a screen print of the site.
Yeah, so they set that up. to lure you
Yeah.
into doing some transaction that they want,
Yeah.
so they can make thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars off you.
Well, even if they make, as they've been doing with ransomware, they make, started $50, $60, it became a couple hundred. The place where my wife works has been hit twice with ransomware. And each time wasn't extensive, but it was a major hassle because now all of a sudden they've lost all their files for that period of time. They don't know if they're going to get them back. They have to get some bitcoins and they have to then deposit them in a certain way. This is a hassle. They're doing business. They don't have time to fool around with this.
Exactly. When your business, site is hacked, I mean that's time is money.
Yeah.
And there's so much you have to do behind the scenes if you are hacked, transacting with your bank, going in there in person to prove who you are.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, some guy's out there with your credit cards and, spending the money that they were able to drain from your account. Now, if you do get hacked, I know a friend who was recently hacked and went to, very exasperating process, but went to the RCMP to, report this and, basically what could she do? And there's really nothing that they can do. Talk to us a little bit about that, why this is so common.
Number one point is if you take this room and fill it with one piece of paper at a time, that would be the number of instances that people just in the Lower Mainland probably got hacked this past year. So how much time does the RCMP office that's supposed to be devoted to that, how much time can they take? They don't have the time. They would go after the major crimes.
Right.
Legitimately, they have to handle those first.
Yeah.
So how much resources do you want to set aside in order to be able to handle that?
Understandable.
So it's a difficult situation where everybody, both the banks, the financial institutions, and the RCMP and others who are involved in all of this are saying, you as the owner of your data should be the one that's controlling access.
We need to target harden ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. So start out by critical thinking. What is it that this looks like? Is this legitimate? If it's not, you can do nothing, or you can contact the so-called provider through a different system and find out did they send that email or did they send that note. So it's not a very good system at all, because there's millions and millions of dollars, billions of dollars going to these people in various places. In the 1400s, the Nigerian letter scam started.
The 1400s.
1400s. A prince sent a letter to an aristocrat in London and said, I have so much money in a stockpile, but I can't get it out unless I pay an administrative fee.
So this has been going on since the 1400s.
At least.
Just various versions of it. Yeah.
As I mentioned, I'm sure that if you take a look at the cuneiform piles in Babylon, that someplace in there is probably a similar thing. So what you've got is people that can make money off of you.
Yes, yes.
And they're finding ways, each time they get a success, they improve it. Each time they get a loss, they improve what they're doing. They're getting very good at this.
Very good at it. So there's online identity theft obviously going on very, very much. But in simple ways too, like just, if my name and address is in my garbage can, what can someone do with that?
They can break in to your mailbox or into your garbage can, and they can get information that is your address and name, and then they can start to use that. They can take that, just that very simple information, go and get a library card. They can take that information, and one step after the next, they'll finally go to a bank and say, this is me, I need to put $50 into an account, and I'm going to start up an account. You can lose the whole house that way. Mortgages have been taken over after certain steps were initiated by these types of folks. And the person that owned that house, and this is what happened in the Lower Mainland, couldn't do anything about it because the paper said, here it is, the other person is the one that owns it.
So shredding, let's all, any mail that you get, any junk mail that you get, make sure that you shred any personal information on there.
If you have personal information, a good shredder is good, but it's also, it might be useful if you live in a condo residence or someplace where there's a group of people, get an industrial strength shredder for the whole area. Credit unions, one Van City has been doing it, they'll put together a shredding day. And that's a donation to such and such charity. and they've got an industrial shredding truck there, and you just bring your things and you give your donation, and everybody's happy.
It's not identity theft crooks that are operating those trucks, is it?
No.
I'll take it away and shred it for you.
Not that I've heard of.
But who knows, we'll get around that too.
Yeah.
So what are the other types of ways we can target harden ourselves, George?
If you have a good password system that's convenient and you're going to use it all the time with one different password for each access point. If you have that critical thinking hat on saying, I don't really understand what this is, but also, why is it that you carry things around that you don't really need to? So do you need your social insurance number with you all the time?
That card, no.
Why?
Yeah.
Why would you ever need it? Look at your wallet and say, these are the cards that I need today, and if I'm going someplace, I'm going across the border, these are the things that I need to take.
Edit your wallet.
Yeah. If you're buying things online, do some research to see who it is that you're buying from. It might not be the cheapest. It might be a little bit more, but it's like paying an insurance policy. You know that this at least is a company that has a reputation for giving you whatever it is that you are starting to pay for. If you give that number, that MasterCard Visa account number to somebody online, the rule in Canada is that they must not use it for any other purpose after that initial transaction. And I know many companies, unfortunately, who keep track of a customer's card number. Not supposed to. So you ask questions. Should they be doing this?
Right.
If you're going and buying a car,
Yes.
you give
Let's
your
talk about
license
that. Give your license
to somebody.
to take a test drive. What should we do?
You may, and they're starting to get better on this. They
Yes.
understand now better what it is that they're supposed to do, but they can legitimately write down your name, address, and the license number. Write it down,
Not take a photocopy of your
Right.
driver's license.
not photocopy.
So if they ask for that, you should just say, I'd rather that you just take down my DL number and name and address, and I'll show you my driver's license, but I don't want you to photocopy it.
And it is to be shredded after I'm out of the door.
And how often does that happen? We don't know. I mean, some might be very diligent, but it only takes one time for that information to get out.
You go into a restaurant and you give your credit card to somebody, and they go into the back room, or even under the table with the credit card. What have they just done?
Yes, yeah.
I have to train occasionally the servers to say, no, I'm going to put the card in the machine. I'm going to enter all the information. It's very simple. And I'm going to take the card out, and you're going to get the money. This is the process.
Yeah. Wow. So in terms of like editing your wallet, in terms of, you know, if your wallet does get stolen, if your physical wallet gets stolen, a lot of that extraneous information isn't there. It's not at their fingertips. They can't use it. So that's a really good tip. When we're doing credit card transactions, and checking our statements every month, we should be looking for purchases that are unusual. Yeah.
Yeah. Every time you get a statement for any kind of purchase, whether it's an individual or the whole credit card statements, you should match them. You should say, this is for that, and the other thing. I get periodically I buy some honey from a place that has a ranch in Chilliwack. And I look at it initially, I said, I was never in Chilliwack. Why am I getting billed from somebody? Oh yeah, that was the honey. You have to make sure that you go through and check it out.
Because what I've heard as well is they'll start by taking, you know, using your credit card for a small purchase, $2, $3. You might see that on your statement and go, well, that's nothing.
That's right.
And then they'll test it that way. And then next thing you know, boom, they've bought something for, you know, $2,500 or.
Well, they just keep on giving little bits.
Yeah, little bits. Little bits add up.
There was a comptroller in Scotland for a very large company who lived in a modest home, and when he retired to Bermuda with the mansion. And somebody asked, well, how come? You didn't get that much money. And after some pertinent questioning, he finally admitted, I just took a penny from everybody's paycheck, just a penny.
Drip, drip, drip.
That's right.
Yeah. Unbelievable. So we have so many points of where our personal information is out there. How can we sort of control those gateways a little better? Like if we get a phone call from a charity organization or something, what information should we not be giving out, or what information shouldn't they be asking for to alert us that could be a scam?
The CRA, Canada Revenue Agency, has a list of all charities. And you can go on there and you can find alphabetically, is this charity on there? Is it legitimate? So if you're not sure about that charity that just called you, you can find out, are they legitimate and are they still registered? Or is there an issue with them? You can go to places like the Better Business Bureau and you can say, do you have anything that's recorded for this particular company? One of the things you'd mentioned, wallet, Liz, one of the things that we rarely do, unfortunately, is everything that's in the wallet that is of importance should be listed someplace with a phone number that says, call in case of loss. So all your credit cards and your driver's license and MSP, anything that is a point of access. What happens when you lose your wallet? That needs to be a list for you to say, these are the places I have to contact in order to tell them that I've just lost it.
Good point. Now, can you keep that information on your cell phone?
You can. It's probably better to have that non-accessible home computer do that.
Right, right. Less hackable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other cell phone precautions we should be taking?
The cell phones are everywhere, are they not? Just have two people visiting who are just into the cell phone game. They hadn't been previously. And there are apps that you can purchase, or even free ones, that track everything that you are doing. Everything.
The Stalker app.
Yeah, well, you don't know that they are. But what Amazon recently got an issue with one of its servers that got hacked. They store companies' information on some of their servers. And it turns out that it came from something that was an app that was giving information to the hackers that was then allowing them to get in with an administrative account into that server. So there's interconnections on that everywhere.
Yeah.
What you want to make sure you're doing with your cell phone is not have an app that allows it to track everything that you are doing except for what that app is for. And it has a list. It says these are the things that this app will take a look at on your computer or on your phone. And that list should not include things that it doesn't have reasons to access.
Right. Yeah, that's a red flag right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now with our social media, everybody's on, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Glitter, you name it. Any other special precautions online with the social media sites that we should be aware of, George?
I was going to get on and find out what your birthday was. Can I?
No.
Why would you give your birthday, your actual birthday? That's in order to get into a hospital, in order to a clinic, you have to say, this is my birthday. That's one of the access points to get into healthcare.
Right.
Why would you give that to anybody that wants to look at it? Because if they have your name, they have your address, now they have your birthday, they can go and pretend to be you.
That's a good point. Now, on some of these shopping sites or stores, they'll say enter your birth date, and so we can give you a free birthday gift or notice.
No.
Yeah.
Simple no.
Simple no.
There are many places that say, if you give us this information, we'll give you this code or access or whatever it is. I'm sorry, I don't need
That's
that badly.
a red flag right there.
Yeah, well, they're storing information. They're obligated by law in Canada to give the customer the note that they're storing information for these purposes. And they have to have a permission for that storage of information. Why would you want to do that? You could get more air miles or something? I don't know.
Well, exactly. And it goes back to what you said about critical thinking.
Yeah.
Like, critical thinking before you click or before you,
Exactly.
go on to certain sites. Any special precautions with gaming sites that viewers should be aware of?
You give much more information on gaming sites than you really need to, but you give personal information, you give your habits, you give your preferences on a lot of gaming sites, and that's something that Google's tracking it anyway. If you don't stop them from doing that. So all of this information goes into a place that's called the infamous dark web, dark internet.
Dark internet, yeah.
In my presentation, I've got a place where, if it's still there, you can go and buy any number of credit cards that you want of anybody, that are legitimate credit cards for a period of time. And you can pay something like $3, $5 per credit card number and all the information that you need. That information gets downloaded by people who have gone around and scammed it in several ways. My condo was broken into by a fellow that did nothing but go into the mailboxes, break open the mailboxes, and take everything. And then what he did was he took what was obvious, any cash or checks or something, and did what he could with that. But then he kept all the letters and addresses and the personal information that was in there, and then that went for sale on those websites.
Wow. Again, protect your personal information, get a shredder, don't put any of that out. And try and harden yourself as much as possible. Now, something like that where the mail is stolen is very difficult. And I know Canada Post takes all kinds of precautions, but you know, things are going to happen. So we've covered some really good points tonight. I like the critical thinking. I like the, you know, edit your wallet. The passwords is a big one. Have a different password for every different point of entry that you're up there.
Convenient, so that you don't say it's too complicated to use.
Exactly. And there's some websites that'll help you with some software for that as well, George.
You can get to the website, you can get to various ways of doing it. It's how much money, it says insurance policy. How much money do you want to spend? How much time do you want to spend in order to protect yourself?
Thank you, George, for helping us learn how to protect ourselves tonight.
You're welcome.
And if viewers have any questions, we've got your email up there as well as your website. People can contact you there. So thank you very much. Have you yourself ever been hacked?
No, my wife has.
Yeah, that's close enough. Yeah.
Long ago, but she got her SIN number scammed, and the only place it came from was TransUnion.
Oh, terrible. So thank you so much. I hope that this has helped our viewers tonight, and you can help tips on how you yourself can not get hacked or scammed out there online. So have fun on your social media, but be careful. Use good passwords, different passwords, convenient passwords, and we will see you next time on Coast Connections. Thank you for joining us tonight.